Let's shake things up again. Let's shake things up a bit.
I just saw Black Bun walk to his car.
Uh-oh.
No, I see this guy outside walking to his car. I was like, he looks kind of like Black Bun.
Oh, my lord!
And with that, we are live.
But I was like, he looks kind of like Black Bun, though, for real.
House?
Yeah, dude. If I ever saw Black Bun in person, man, I would literally snipe his ass with a pellet gun.
Oh my god!
No, dude. If I saw Black Bun in real life, I'd come at him with a feather duster just to sit up here and get that attic dust off of him. That's what I would do.
Hey, honey, you know what? I got one better for you. Not a feather duster. That damn paintbrush from Splatoon.
No. No, Swiffer Sweeper.
Oh my god.
No, Quan, I'm
so
done with
now that
you,
we've
man.
officially started the Gamers at Large podcast, or should I say the Lunches at Large podcast?
Lord.
It always happens. I think it's just
yes.
But anyway,
I'm not sipping.
I've told Jay and I've told a few others multiple times, we need to do a segment where it's raw, uncut, and it's like we pretend we don't know it's recording live. There'll be like a coming out episode, but it's like all right, we're offline. Yeah, man, like, whew, guys, like they're like, we wouldn't actually throw stabs at people, but it's like we say the stuff we don't normally say during a podcast.
For those that think we're a little bit too PC.
Yeah. We're just trying to be nice because we want the younger kids not to sit up here and get all like riled up and whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's for the kiddies. For the kiddies. You know what I'm saying?
Get rowdy.
But expect us occasionally. This is going to be a newer, more relaxed Gamers at Large. We're going to do things a little bit differently.
Yes. With that being said, to my immediate left, I have Quan ManChu.
Yo, what's up, man? You know how I do. Always with a drink in my hand and a master plan. There you go. Let's do this.
Yes. You're drinking Bacardi tonight, correct?
Yes, I am. Oak Heart, as a matter of fact.
And it isn't 75% alcohol, is it?
Somewhere around there. But the thing is, though, it's not going to sit up here and get you slammed after 5 shots. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh, my God. Shots fired!
To my immediate left from Quan is MizzahTee, but I don't know if he's...
What the fizzle is Izzle, fools?
What's going on?
You got your Corona tonight?
Nah, I'm chilling tonight.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Birthday's tomorrow, though. Happy birthday to me.
Birthday.
So-
Birthday drinks. Shots.
No doubt.
Shots.
Okay, are we doing shots or shots fired? There's the difference.
Both.
A little of both.
And to his left is Mr. Red Fox. This is a Tell Two Foxes tonight. So go ahead and give your intro, man.
This is Mr. Red Fox, a.k.a. the Nintendo Defense Force Red Fox Ranger, a.k.a. the man who's crazy like a fox, a.k.a. the man who hasn't taken BS since 1991. Yeah, I'm all of those.
That's outstanding. And I have Dr. Feelgood to his left.
All right, while these guys are taking shots of alcohol, I'll be taking shots of my Minute Maid. I'll be taking shots with it probably. But anyway, you know who it is, the guy with the smooth moves and groovy tunes, always in a gaming mood. And what I would like to add to that is, by the time this podcast is over, I'll be making that same slur that he did in the Big Hero 6. He's like, ba la 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 la.
Oh my god. In addition to that, I have a surprise guest here, Double M.
Yo, what's up, man? It's me, here to first GAL podcast I've been in a while, so let's see how it goes.
Okay, if I may say something, you sound like you're already under the influence, sir.
Well, it's like how early in the morning for you?
I'm not under any influence. I'm just here. Right now, I can't afford to be under the influence. I'm still waiting for payday.
I gotta sit up here and go over there. I gotta go over there across the pond where Micah's at, so I can sit up here and give him a couple of pints, right?
Yeah, he's across the pond. So I would imagine the majority of us, we are of working class. I would imagine, right? Nobody here is a kid in the basement, kind of kind of deal.
Disabled veteran, so
No. I am. You know, sometimes I'm a kid now. Sometimes I'm a squid now.
You're not allowed to be a squid or a kid.
I
You
have
you watch the
an
commercial?
extensive bar in my house, but I do not drink heavily.
Well, you have a choice. You could be a kid now, you could be a squid now, or you can be Bruce Jenner. Make your decision.
I choose
nice.
neither. I prefer to be Spike.
Oh,
No, man.
I choose neither. I prefer to be Spike. Thank you very much.
I mean, well, it's better than being the NAACP chick because she won't be able to write a book and make money.
Dude, you know what? I feel bad for I'm feeling bad for some of the single guys out there, man. Because nowadays they're gonna have to sit up here and give the chick that they're dating a DNA test just to make sure they're getting what they're getting into.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. I mean,
it's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I like you. You're really pretty, but I need to feel your Adam's apple. I need to know if you have one. I need to know if you ever have one.
No offense. It's like no offense, but you know, you know.
What the hell kind of podcast is this?
Your hands are the size of trash
You know what?
cans.
That's a very
You know who's
good
hosting, man.
It's yours.
I've officially turned this into a shadow cast. Greetings.
This is why Gamers at Large is always going to be my favorite gamer network.
You never know, somebody's gonna take over.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun.
Yeah, man. The
Lord.
Go ahead, Quan.
I just hope we don't get slammed by certain people getting all upset and butthurt over what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? We're just kidding around.
Yeah, hey guys, it's all in the name of fun here.
MizzahTee, get that butt paste.
Nah, some of that monkey butt.
I'm gonna have to whip that back out and this.
Oh man.
If people want to cry over onions, and it's that simple. If you can't take the onions, then stay out the kitchen.
Exactly.
How you know the name of my next video?
So many onions, not enough time. So many tears. Oh man. But the past couple of weeks have definitely been eventful, if you will.
To say the least.
I just kind of feel I want to get this out of the way. I feel that the Nintendo Championships kind of stole the thunder from the rest of their presence at E3, and even though the games that they showed after that were pretty, obviously they're going to show well because they actually make games and the games actually play well, so that's not going to be an issue. The more of my problem is that all of the hype from the press and stuff like that, or anybody else that was, who wants to be a fanboy or a bandwagon Nintendo follower or what have you, all of the excitement Nintendo side for E3 all came down to the last 15 minutes of the Mario Maker part. That's the majority of what had people. Personally, I feel a little bit different, but I can't help but see that that's the general consensus amongst those on the internets, if you will. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But we're coexisting with a industry full of people that want to see the next big thing, the first unprecedented thing, and whether the game is good or not, they don't really give a fuck. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but yes, they really don't.
Look, man, if it's the truth,
AKA it's a bunch of people with no lives, and they need to see the next big thing to make their life really important.
No, they want to own a piece of it. You know what killed me is that people sometimes form an attachment to whatever brand that they like, and they act like they're in a competition with somebody who owns the opposing brand. They have nothing to do with the creativity involved in order to make these, different types of technologies, nor the games, in question. And yet they sit up here and swear their loyalty and wear their battle colors like they're going to war. Guess what? You're not a veteran. I am.
Yep.
Shots fired.
Yeah, that
and
kills me.
speak for yourself. I lived through the Sega Nintendo console wars. I'm being facetious.
I have actually lived through many wars, about 5 different wars or whatever. From the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th gen, and even before that. So I am a veteran as well, Quan.
Yeah,
No, I
and,
hear you, man. I'm not sitting up here putting you down.
no, I'm being facetious. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that, I mean, people didn't realize, like, people got mad, but they got mad because subconsciously Nintendo basically whipped out one of their strongest weapons and beat people over the head with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, they spent 15 minutes showing their history, right? No one else has got that history.
Nobody, and they know it.
Okay.
To be honest,
They
I think
pulled
when-
out-
I
They
think when
pulled
they were
out their
showing,
biggest
like,
gun and beat everyone over the head with it.
And to be honest, I thought the stuff when they were showing like the Mario Maker, like the graphs and things like that of how they used to make Mario and that kind of stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. Call me a fanboy, but I did think that was kind of cool, like seeing how they originally created the game and stuff. I mean, who shows that stuff?
To me, I thought it was cool too. You're not the only one. I thought it was a pretty cool thing. It's like, wow, like this is taking it back to like making things a hard way and having to draw that on paper and inlay like on top of it to make adjustments. It's like that really was a cool thing, and now they've actually given that to us.
Yeah, I mean that stuff was very cool. Like, because I remember being a kid and I don't know, I guess it was late elementary, junior high by the time that stuff happened, where I was playing with D&D and whatnot. We do our pen and paper D&D stuff, and we used to use graph paper, and we used to like design levels and stuff on that. So it immediately took me back to that, and that was cool. It was just the disjointed nature of the presentation itself that kind of didn't allow me to enjoy that stuff as much as I would have had it been a better presentation overall.
That's completely understandable.
And for those that are not following right now, we're talking about the Nintendo Direct E3 presentation, followed by the Nintendo World Championships, which, for all intents and purposes, kind of overshadowed it in the hype department.
They were pretty awesome.
Yeah, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I have to double back and think like, so when we talk about all this press word of mouth and all this and what gains the most hype and stuff like that, and I'm like, so where is Rhyme? Where is it at? Isn't it about to come out? Where's The Witness? Like, these games apparently had a lot of hype last E3. Also, where is Deep Down? It was shown as recently as January this year, but it didn't show up at E3, not to my knowledge.
Yeah, it's been it's been shoved deep down in the closet.
But much hype, right?
Hmm?
So, but there was much hype for that, like when it was shown. How can I say this? When the footage representing the title in question was shown. I can't really say it's a game, but it's neither.
I don't know. Gamers today,
one thing I really didn't understand is this. They showed us an early build of Star Fox, right? And then they, talk about something. They couldn't show Zelda for this, that, and whatever other reason. They could have at least showed a demo of, let's say, gameplay of the latest equipment that you get in Legend of Zelda. We've seen many equipment that's been added over the years in Zelda, right?
Yep.
Many different things. You know what I'm saying? They could have showed us something new. They showed a unique game mechanic that allowed you to sit up here and play the game differently to solve puzzles. Something.
Well, apparently they had it. They just chose not to show it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's one of the things that stood out to me is that I wanted to be more excited for Star Fox than I was, but it was such a early-looking build that I couldn't be. And the fact that they showed Star Fox in that state, why couldn't they show Zelda? I know Zelda's way farther along.
Well, we almost saw it in its alpha state, and it wasn't. Apparently, it was looking N64-ish then last year. So, but now that they've announced that Platinum is working for it, I'm not really worried about the visuals.
I know the game's gonna be great. I know it's gonna look good and all that, and it's gonna have all that Platinum flair to it too. I'm just saying again, back to the presentation. We're judging the presentation.
Yeah, the presentation was.
They presented that, and that wasn't up to par.
That game wasn't ready to show.
I gotta disagree with the presentation.
To be honest,
I like the space battle. The space battle looked.
No, it wasn't even that, because here's the thing. To me, it looked fine to me. And when they said Platinum, like later on in the Treehouse, Platinum is working on this, I was like, well, it's a Nintendo game. Nintendo starts with the premise first, and then they build everything around the premise.
True.
So so I know if it looks fine now, by the time it releases, it's gonna look great. Now, I
but
mean,
here's the
well,
problem,
actually, I would say it looked better than fine to me,
You're
but
saying
I
it
don't.
looks
You know, I'm
fine.
not ultimately, wedded to, a Star Fox that looks ultra realistic or whatever.
It looks fine is not enough for me for a Nintendo game.
Yeah, because
I'm
we
not-
know they
that's
could
not
do
something
way
we're
better
used
than
to.
that. Yeah.
That's different. We haven't, because Nintendo always prides themselves on, well, we're not going to show it until it's ready, and that's what they've always said that. They've always been that way. And to me, showing Star Fox in its state was very un-Nintendo-like. That's what.
Yeah. Almost like that was because Zelda was in the state it was in. They were forced basically to show this game the way that they did, because they could have easily made Star Fox another, hey, go on the show floor and you'll see it, and we'll show you a cinematic trailer or something. They could have done that.
That could be the case. That could. I can't speak strongly about either one of those because I just don't know. But
Or maybe Nintendo has something else planned that isn't ready. There may be another title they're working on.
I don't know. I was quite hyped when I saw that trailer. I don't know if you lot seen my reaction video, but like, I was hyped for Star Fox. I still am. But
I was when I first saw it, but then like once you start seeing like some of the textures and stuff were kind of looking a little like they were still obviously being worked on. But then in some areas it looked great. So
yeah,
it was
like the background and the environment, like the open environment,
some of the backgrounds
really nice.
Looked pretty amazing.
It was
the thing is, then you had the stuff that was just like hardly any enemies and sparse as hell.
In terms of the textures and things like that, it kind of suffered from a Super Mario 3D World syndrome. And then if you remember, we got that trailer in the October Direct, I think it was, which kind of just when it showed
3D World looked like ass
3D
before it came out.
Yeah, it barely looked better. It barely looked better than Galaxy. And then when they showed the next trailer for it, it's just like, oh shit, this game is sick.
Yeah. Again, I don't think we're talking about the fact that we don't think Star Fox is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be awesome. It's just the
trailer.
What they showed. It's hard to, and again, because of the whole presentation itself.
To me, it just reminded me of the same thing they did with 3D World. So I'm hoping that like maybe the next Direct or something, when they show a new trailer for it, it's going to just like blow everyone away.
And here's the difference though. We didn't know 3D World was coming. When they showed that,
it came out of
trailer,
nowhere.
we had no idea. We had an idea of Star Fox when we kind of saw it a little bit at last year's E3. So the expectation or the hype wasn't for just seeing what they did at the E3 last year. It's for seeing how far they've come, and it didn't seem, at least from the build that we saw, that they came that far.
Yeah,
I saw the build that they had on the Game Explain, and the build that they showed on when Game Explain was playing it, that actually looked considerably better than what they showed in the digital event.
Yeah, well, I saw that footage too, but it's still like, for whatever reason, it sends the message to me when I watch that footage. It seems like Nintendo is still working on the core concepts for gameplay, still for that game. That's what it appears like to me. Like they're still trying to figure out what key things they're going to do for different levels, like what objectives you're going to have and how you're going to use the gamepad to do certain things. It seems like they're still working on that. If you get what I'm saying, and I think they should have had that nailed down.
I actually don't think so. I think they came to E3 with a build that was maybe even 6 months old, because like I said before that to take your resources away from the development cycle on the game and to make a build for a demo for E3 would be taking some resources away. You don't want to do that in this.
Good point.
I think the game is way farther along as far as what they actually are working on right now than what we saw. I think it's probably 80% done right now.
I kind of agree.
Do a rebuild of a demo.
I kind of agree with T on that, and also as well, like when usually at E3 when Nintendo shows off a game, like they usually show a trailer for the demo that they have at E3. So like again, it comes to like the next Direct or so or whatever. I think we're going to see a trailer where it shows more depth of what the gameplay is actually about.
Yeah,
that's just my theory.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be similar to, like you were saying, Mario 3D World first reveal and second reveal. I think that's what we're going to get in the later
probably
on.
Do another Direct on it.
Direct, right?
Yeah, and
I
they need to
just
do
want to see
another
some
one
more
for
info on
Xenoblade.
Zelda. That's all I know. I like Star Fox. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Star Fox, but I definitely want to see more on Zelda. I want to see what they've come up with and what changes they made since the last trailer.
Yeah, because apparently Monolith is working on that one again too. So we'll see exactly
Well, that,
what
that
kind
would
of
that would
tools.
that would make sense. I mean, considering what they're going for with Legend of Zelda, and like considering what I mean, it definitely kind of like from that trailer they showed last year and the gameplay footage, it definitely seems like it has that kind of Xenoblade-esque kind of vibe to it in a sense. So that wouldn't surprise me that Monolith Soft is working on the game as well.
Yeah, overworld layout for a Zelda game. That's something.
Yeah, that would be a live streaming. It could be just the original Legend of Zelda overworld, but in 3D, like
I
huge.
think the new Zelda game is kind of going to be. I don't think it's really going to follow the timeline. I think they're going to do like Star Fox in the sense they're doing a reimagining. Like people may find some way to squeeze it in the timeline and that, but I really think this is going to be like a reimagining of, like you said, the original Legend of Zelda.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it will be a reimagining too.
Maybe. I mean, Link to the Past was a reimagining with its own story kind of mixed in there. So
yeah, it was a reimagining of A Link to the Past.
So I don't know. I don't. That was the only complaint that I really had about it. I like the Jim Henson stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was a big fan of I was a big fan of Muppets back in the days. Like I used to wake up early in the morning just to catch Sesame Street before school. So
also that wasn't cheap. So
No, it wasn't.
No, that was the Muppet. That was the Henson
they actually got Jim Henson the Jim Henson company to work on it.
Right,
would have cost a lot of money.
And here's another thing. People said, like I heard some people saying that they didn't see Nintendo's third-party partnerships. But here's the thing: Disney owns the Jim Henson company.
Yeah, that's some money.
Yeah, that's a partnership. I mean, that's a lot of trust. Nintendo is letting Jim Henson's thing, like a company that's known themselves, they are known for being very tight about their own IP, the Muppets. And now you have a company that's also known to be really tight about their IP, letting another company that's really tight about their IP work on their IP. That's some meta stuff right there.
I think people are talking about for games. I mean that's
but
cool and all, but we were expecting
the lineup,
some third party, titles.
And I'm just saying that's still a big thing.
I can't play Nintendo's Muppet deal on my Wii U. I can't play that.
Now with the lineup, what's so funny about that is the lineup is actually okay. It's just they didn't show any of it with any how can I say this, with any confidence during the direct. They were just kind of like focusing on key titles instead of like showing the breadth of the what the platform has this year. Like they didn't touch on indie at all. Like I don't understand.
They did show quite a bit of indie stuff on their Treehouse.
In the Treehouse, yeah, but it's surprising that they didn't showcase it in the.
They should have showcased it in the direct. I mean,
digital event.
I mean, the good thing about the E3 is that I think despite their digital event was clearly considered not nowhere near as good as last year's, but I think their Treehouse, like the way they had their Treehouse set up, I think it was a lot better than how it was last year.
Well, it was more refined.
It was a lot more streamlined as well.
Yeah, I definitely say that the show floor definitely had more going for it than.
Yeah, the show floor had definitely more substance than the digital event.
Yeah, and it's sad because that I just feel that if they just took I don't know, maybe about a minute of each one of those experiences and cram that into the direct, that would have made for a lot more.
I think what it comes down to is the fact that with Nintendo games, in Nintendo games, one of Nintendo's big struggles is conveying the message of their games to people, in the sense that Nintendo's games are the kind of games you really kind of need to experience before you kind of really need to experience them to understand what they are.
Yeah, they speak for themselves.
I think that's why they put more focus in the Treehouse in the digital event, because they want to show people, playing and experiencing the game so that they can convey their message better.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, Nintendo has this awesome thing they do every few months called the Nintendo Direct, and they can drop one next month and completely make us forget about this digital event. So
I'm surprised they didn't do like they did with, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. They did one like, was it a couple days after E3? Like they did like a direct, or they did like some type of video. They released a video or something like that right after E3. Where, I mean, it was just like, why didn't you have this at E3? And I'm trying to figure out what it was. I can't remember what it was. It was for a game, one game in particular, but they like literally held it until after E3, and that blew my mind.
What about this whole thing with Devil's Third?
Yeah, Devil's Third because Devil's Third wasn't shown at all last year either. It was just on the floor.
And it was taken off of the North American eShop as coming soon.
Yeah, and then somebody got a quote from Itagaki or something like that saying that it's still coming to North America.
It's still coming, yeah.
I think again, these are just theories that I'm coming up with. I think like with their digital event and their E3, I think they kind of I think maybe the reason they didn't show Devil's Third is because they're trying to retain their family image, and that when the time comes they'll probably have a direct dedicated to the Devil's Third, because then they know that the people who are going to watch that direct are the people who want Devil's Third, whereas the people who are potentially looking at their games and stuff that are shown at E3, because even though families and stuff may not look at E3, may not actually watch E3 live, E3 news that is shown at E3 still gets put in the papers and still gets put on general news sites and stuff like that, like news, like just sites that show general news, not necessarily specifically gaming news, so I think it might have just been an image thing for them why they didn't show it, and that when the time they'll have their own specific direct for Devil's Third, which they know that the fans, the people who want Devil's Third, who see that, they're going to be the ones to watch it.
Now I gotta. That actually brings up something that I've been thinking about. Actually, now that you mention that, that's contradictory to what their original image for the Wii U was. Because the first 2 years that they demoed this platform at E3, they were going out of their way to publish M-rated games on the platform and was showing blood during the presentation. So I don't like that. That really, I don't understand why they would change to go from there to there, because everybody knows who Nintendo is. They know that we're this.
I think it.
Mind if I interject just a bit here? I want to say something in harmony with Star Fox's thoughts here. Take a look at the fact that Nintendo had a partnership with Playboy when they came to who? Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It just amounts to the disjointed marketing or messaging that the Wii U has been. Because you remember when it first launched, they had this really
they had Ninja Gaiden 3, people getting cut in half.
No, I mean like in the beginning when they first started showing commercials, those cubes and with all those families jumping around and that horrible what do you call that music?
The dubstep.
Dubstep music.
They had the
it was like
college couple, the kids and the family.
So it looked like that, and then that did well. I mean, they sold 3 million consoles pretty quickly, and then they kept that marketing going, and then it just fell off a cliff. And then they tried to say, this is the hardcore console. So that's when they started to showcase more hardcore stuff. You got the January Direct with Xenoblade Chronicles X in it. So you got all the, and then that didn't really work. And it seems like they bounced back to the more kid-friendly, family-friendly stuff again. Like if you're gonna support a game like Devil's Third, then support it. If you're gonna spend the money to put it on your console.
One game I would have got on the system early on would have been a port of Sleeping Dogs. If they wanted something that was more of an adult title that would have fit well on there.
Well, I mean they got Yakuza in Japan. They didn't bring that over here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is more of a Nintendo of America issue, because Nintendo is still publishing that game in Japan, Europe.
I wouldn't be surprised if Australia got it.
Europe includes the PAL. So, I mean...
Nintendo needs to convince NCL that they could sell that stuff over here. That's part of the problem.
that's Nintendo of America's thing. So, I mean, I don't know why that is because we did get Bayonetta. So I don't. It's yeah.
I think again another theory, but because what I've noticed of recent, going to like other family members' houses and things like that, I'm starting to notice more and more families have started picking up the Wii U. So it could be potentially, Nintendo. If I noticed it, I'm sure Nintendo may have noticed it. So it could be potentially that. I mean, the bouncing back and forward between how they're trying to market their system it's clearly having an impact on the fans' perception of things.
It has to be if you're showcasing games like Mario Party 10 and Animal Crossing board game. If you're showcasing those games over like Devil's Third and Zelda or whatnot, then you're obviously going for a different more younger. They're going for a younger, more subdued demographic. That's what it is.
Splatoon worked though, and they knew exactly what they needed to do. And
did you guys see that one commercial where they show people spraying each other with paint?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It had nothing to do with Splatoon. But my thing is, they should have done a concept like that. You know what I'm saying? Some type of a concept where they showed them in their imagination shoot each other with paint, have them with squid hats,
like a live action ball thing.
They did that in real life though. They had a Splatoon thing, like an event. They just didn't televise it. It was on like YouTube or something.
Yeah, it was kind of a grassroots type of thing. Yeah, because I remember Andre the Black Nerd was from Black Nerd Comedy was in it too.
Yeah, I mean that would have been interesting, something like that, shake things up a bit, but oh well.
I mean, they have all that footage and stuff. Why don't they? They're gonna keep marketing Splatoon. Start throwing some of that stuff in there, showing.
You see, here's my thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. I do share your sentiments on the whole thing, but it's just for me personally, it just gets to that point where, despite the fact that I don't like certain things that Nintendo are doing, or despite the fact that I question their decision and I wonder why are they doing this or things like that, they have to. I kind of have to convince myself that they must know what they're doing, because every year their profits have been their profits have been getting better. Their losses have dwindled down to the point where now they're actually making profit. So in a sense, I have to convince myself that they must know what they're doing and they must be doing something right, whether I like what they're doing or agree with they're doing or not. Considering you look at the other two companies and that they're predicting losses, Microsoft gaming division's been losing money non-stop. Third-party companies, they're struggling to keep up. They're struggling to keep up with the cost of development and things like that. So, in a sense, like I said, I may not always like what they do, but then looking at it from a business angle, they're clearly doing they must be doing something right.
The things that always have saved Nintendo have continued to save Nintendo. Their first-party games are strong, and the fact that the Wii U is now selling at a profit, that's why the losses are going down. And the fact that Amiibos are selling like gangbusters, that's another reason. And the DLC, they have some really good DLC, and those sell well. So that's the stuff that alleviates them from some of the losses.
F those Smash Brothers skins though. I ain't putting my money on that.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. You can get out of here with that. All these amiibos like that, and you're gonna force me to pay? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, come up with that bullshit, man. I don't see why I couldn't get a Link costume just by tapping my
Exactly. So
I don't want to be paying no big money for skins.
That when it comes to Nintendo, that you have to deal with some of that disjointed stuff. It's like, why doesn't that, let me buy it or let me use my amiibo?
But looking at the situation between looking at the situation between like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, I'm kind of thinking that a lot of this Smash Brothers DLC stuff and the pricing and everything, I think that's more. I'm kind of believing that's more Sakurai than anything.
Somebody's making love to their mic or something.
I'm just saying. I'm kind of believing, comparing it to Mario Kart DLC and whatnot. I'm kind of believing that this is more Sakurai's doing than Nintendo's doing.
He's about to chime in.
I don't know. I don't know if we could really say that or not. I
That's just my guess, you know.
You guys hear me?
Nintendo reminds me of a two-headed guy with arms and legs being controlled by one head or the other. They don't know which.
It's kind of like that sometimes.
But in the defense, I will.
I mean, not to be.
It's like you say in your T video. They revolutionize and they evolutionize. But another thing you mentioned before, we've all mentioned this in some way, shape, or fashion. Nintendo doesn't plan for the immediate future. They plan for 4 or 5 years. So what we see is a dumb decision now, like no voice chat in Splatoon, no online play potentially in Star Fox and stuff like that.
No 1080p support last generation.
It's like for them, Nintendo, they plan for the future because I'm pretty sure anyone with any home theater or tech, just the basic tech common sense and knowledge, knows that 1080p is not HD is not even a standard in media yet.
Let's not talk about standards.
I mean, I'm not going down that road with, at least not yet. But
standards.
But roll with me. Like, if you think about it, HD is not a standard. And I had someone make a comment, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, say that, well, DirecTV has over 200 HD channels. I said,
no.
This is what you said. I said they have 200 available HD channels. I said, but they still have standard definition channels. There's still some networks that do not do HD. They're still standard definition, and they have no HD counterpart even available.
And you have stretched images from HD, or from SD, and they're calling it HD.
Man,
yeah, and thinking about that, it's like Nintendo has never made a move where it's like, oh, let's do this now that can take care of us right here, right now. Like even when the Wii released back in 2006, they already had the concept of the Wii U. It was there already. It just wasn't ready to be brought out yet. They were still testing, but they already had the concept down. They know what they want to do 6 years later.
And they were pretty much right and wrong with the Wii. Like you're saying, they don't always give us what we want because they're playing for the longevity of their company, and that doesn't always line up together what we want and their longevity as a company. So I completely get that. Like with the Wii, they get crapped on about not being an HD console and all this stuff, but for the first few years they were right. They were right that nobody would have HD TVs like that. The saturation wasn't there yet, and so they made out like gangbusters.
And in retrospect, they had a good library too.
Right, and they had great.
In all honesty, I mean, the one thing Nintendo couldn't have predicted was, the massive price drops in HD TVs.
Right, it really around 2008.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we was going through the recession and things like that. They were starting to do like sell. Before where they used to just do their sale, like have the January sales after Christmas. They were starting to do Christmas sales and then January sales. So a lot of things in terms of the electronics market, they were dropping in price really fast. Like a HD TV that costed like say 600. HD TV that costed like say 600 to £1,000. By the time Christmas came around, it was like it dropped to like 400 to 600 pounds. Then by the time New Year's came around, which was like a week later, it was like at 200 to 400 pounds. And that's something. I guess that's something Nintendo couldn't have predicted because they dropped in price fast.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame them?
You want to think about it? It's like me personally, I look at Nintendo this way, and this is just my own perception. But Nintendo's like a gaming parent. And we're the children. We may say, well, we want these things. We've seen these things. Like, oh, I've seen Sony have this, and so therefore, I think I want it. I think it's cool. It should be necessary. It should be a standard of your console. Nintendo like, we may not give you everything you want, at least not when you want it, but at the end of the day, would it take a year or 5 years, we'll give you what you need, to have fun and have a great experience. And like, perfect examples are Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World. People like, that game should have online. That game is not either online play. It really doesn't need it. So although we may want certain things from them and think that they should be there, Nintendo proves us wrong. Perfect example is Splatoon. People swore up and down that this is a shooter. You need voice chat. Yeah, you do not. And I'm sorry. Even my wife has come out and said that, like, I've said some very, very, inappropriate things while playing.
Man,
I'm sorry. I had to.
You're crazy. Look. I gotta strategize when I'm going around painting the wall, man. You don't know what you're talking about.
You don't have enough time. There's not enough time. There isn't, man. If you play any of the ranked matches,
I would tell you guys like this, and this is from recent experience. I played Splat Zones yesterday from like 11 at night. I say probably like 10 at night to like 4:30 in the morning.
Me too. When they changed over in the middle of the night. So what?
Yeah.
So they switched the zones.
And so I tell you this: if you ever play Splat Zones and you actually understand how it works, once you get to, I would say, probably around a C plus to the B minus levels and above, you start seeing that although playing that game will be great with teammates, it's like there really is no time to strategize. It's like you need to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and that's it. It's like you can't even really change your game plan because by the time you change your game plan, that match could be over in a minute and a half.
And you know, voice chat would sound like in that game for something that intense. Everybody would be shouting at the same time.
No, you hear a lot. Go over there, stupid.
All I'm saying,
that's why it's good. That's why it's good to have one QB handle everything. You know what I'm saying? And give direction, and the rest follow.
All I'm saying is, if there was voice chat and I was playing ranked battles, I would probably be banned.
Yeah.
Because there's some people, you get some teams in the ranked battles that are just, oh my god.
Well, but it depends. Like I had one dude, like he completely blew our lead in one match that we played, right? Then we played another match, and him and another other guy was on our team, and he did exactly what he needed to do, and we won. It just depends. It goes from game to game to game, and you can't really. I don't know, man. Like sometimes you be playing against a dude and he's murdering somebody. He's murdering your team while you're playing with him, playing against him, and then when he's playing with you, he doesn't help you at all. So like,
exactly.
it just depends.
So, you know,
It sounds like he's trolling.
Well,
they could be trolling, or they may just not know what role they're in because they go from.
But even sometimes when you have those moments when you go all Rambo on people, you're the one person taking out everyone on the other team, and it's just like, why is my splat zone not secured? I've taken out every single enemy here. Why am I still the only one trying to secure the splat zone? Where is everybody? No one is there. I've taken out everybody. Why isn't the rest of the team trying to secure that splat zone?
I've been there.
Yeah, but it's probably a good thing for you though, because if they're drawing the fire, you can make sure that one stays. Your countdown is still running if you have that one secured.
Or there's my personal favorite. You're playing a turf war, or you're not a turf war. Turf war, and you're trying to paint, and you get to the end of the match, and there's a guy who has like 8 kills, 3 splats, 0 drops of paint drop.
Yep.
That guy, that evil, messing up the whole team.
But when you want voice chat for that, you can yell at that idiot like you spawn.
Let me put it this way: some of the things I say, no, I don't want anyone to hear what I have to say. I would get banned for some of the things I say.
The match starts, you spawn or whatever, and then everybody in your team runs off and heads towards the other team.
Hey!
You're the last one staying behind trying to cover your base.
There is a valid strategy behind that because I do it, but I do not forget about my home base.
Well.
But I rush out to create a bottleneck because
that's fine. I get that. A lot of people
it's a guaranteed win in turf war. However, once I die and I respawn back at the home base, I clean up the home base at that point.
Some people don't do that.
Or my personal favorite on Salt Spray Rig that really gets me is when, because if you don't get those 2 areas at the top and bottom of the map,
the middle section, the 2 middle sections.
If you don't get those 2 sections in the middle, the huge section up top where they've got the crane, and down there at the bottom in the middle section, you're not gonna win that. You're not gonna win on that map. And there's like someone's inking the small section, and you've got 3 of your people in that small middle section. It's like, go up top and start inking up there. They're painting everything we did. No.
I'm gonna give you a worse. I'm gonna give you a worse scenario where I'm glad voice chat was not available. I had got, I think around like 2:33 a.m. in the morning. I had got to a B plus 96. I needed one more match to hit A minus. I had 23 wins in a row. So I'm like, I'm almost there. After I get A minus, I'm going to bed. That was my promise to myself. Got in the match. Somebody had an Aerospray RG.
Wait. Doesn't everybody make that promise to themselves with this game? I'm sorry, because I've done it too.
But
Just
me,
one
I knew,
last- just one
but
last
me,
level.
I knew I had been playing for a while, and I have a
Mhm.
wife, so I know eventually I need to get my ass in bed, um, because she demands me to. However,
Yes.
I'm playing, and somebody had an Aerospray RG, which that's one of my favorite guns. That gun is great in Turf War. It's not that great in Splat Zones because you need range to keep people
Mhm.
away from you. You can't always get close to get a kill.
Yep.
So someone had an Aerospray RG, and guess what they were doing on Splat Zones on Salt Spray Rig? They were going around, ignoring the firefight, and painting the back area.
Really?
So I'm thinking like that's a great strategy if this was Turf War.
Yeah.
This is Splat Zones. How is it that three of the team, like I think it was two folks on my team were down. I was waiting to respawn, and the enemy team, because I had took out three of them before I died, three of them at once. This dude was in the back. All we had to do was just take the zone for another 10 seconds. We would have won the game.
Wait a minute.
He left it there and let it keep counting down.
What is the special for that weapon though? Is it Ink Strike?
No, there's two versions. One has an ink strike. One has an ink zuka.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, depending on what the special was, that could have been what he was trying to do. Because I see a lot of people doing that too, and I'm guilty. I do it a lot too. Because I'm like, I don't want to go into the fray or the kill zone unless I got special up. So
Yep.
I wouldn't go in that area because I roll with the carbon roller, and I'm not going into the kill zone unless I got the
Something.
bazooka or whatever.
Yeah.
I gotta have
But
something going.
see, me,
Yeah, something.
I'm in the zone, like whether I got a special or not, because especially I'm playing Splat Zones on South Spray Rig, all you have to do really is be the first one there.
Yeah, and as long as you keep
there's
control.
a bottleneck to get there. People can get to the top, but they can be easily shot down with a Splatter Shot Pro or a .52 Gal. But this dude literally ignored. All he had to do was just paint half of that, because we still had it. He had to just paint half of it. It would have counted down. We had got down to 3, and they took over. He would have painted. We would have won. He ignored it.
Oh my
We
god.
lost, and I got knocked back down. So I spent the next hour and a half trying to get back because I lost 3 more times in a row after that. It's like, yeah, Aerospray. If I see one, I'm leaving the lobby.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
As a guy who doesn't really care about voice chat, and especially in Splatoon, I feel it doesn't need it. But I just don't understand to think that it's good that it's not there. Because you can, it is an option, and you can turn it off. You don't need to have it on if you don't want it on.
Some of
Yeah,
the
admittedly.
Sorry,
Ad-
go on.
Oh, hold on a second. Admittedly, like I said, a lot of people they seem to celebrate features they don't care about when they're removed from a game. I'm like this. If you want to give everybody a buffet, give them a buffet when it comes to the game. Let everybody get a taste of their own favorite flavor. You know what I'm saying? Whether you could take voice chat, disable it, or whatever. These devs that made it a point to disable it, I mean, I don't care about voice chat too much. I always find ways around that. I find ways around it. But if it's inside a game, it's convenient. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I think. I think that they had legitimately good reasons to do this. They just didn't bring them across well. I think the direction came up with the worst reasons.
Said, this is a different kind of shooter. We're trying to give you a different experience.
Exactly.
With the basically with your communication. You look at your gamepad, you can see where your guys are, all that stuff. If it just said that, I think it would have been a lot better.
You're right.
They didn't.
Well,
Their
it would have been better for
it
you.
sucked.
But
It
there
really
are certain
did suck.
people who just like to, act like a female dog and complain.
Well, that's fine.
Either way.
If they were going to
But,
do that,
I
but
mean,
at least they would have had we'd had a better argument against those people.
Yeah, you're right.
True.
But,
And
here's the thing. Like I said, they're going to complain either way. All I'm going to say is this. Some of the things that have come out of my mouth while I've said this, while I've been playing this game, I'm glad that there wasn't anyone recording because I could go to jail.
I think internally that was part of the reasoning, though. I think that was part of the reasoning.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I was just
That's all
trying to
I'm
say
saying.
that because I was actually in a podcast with Liger from Enduo, and he knows someone that actually works high up in Nintendo, and he said that before the game released, they actually did an in-house test with complete voice chat. This was all in-house, like with Nintendo execs and players, things like that. And they did it, in Japan, Europe, America, and I think Australia too. He said when they did that, within 2 minutes, keep in mind they've been playing this game prior to without voice chat, and then they did an in-house test with voice chat. Within 2 minutes, guess who dropped the ball? America. Every country dropped the ball, of course, but America dropped it first. And they say not only did they drop the ball, but they dropped the N-bomb. So that's the reason why they decided to take it out. And the developers reason because we're talking about people that work for Nintendo, and even they got riled up when they had voice chat and could throw insults at one another. He said it got bad.
I get that. I could.
That's one thing with randoms. Well, what about your friends?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, I agree with you guys. I made a video. I want the feature. I would have loved the feature. At least I say it would have been great with friends, not randoms, but at least with friends. I wanted that. But I also agree that I understand why they didn't do it. I think it should be there for friends at least. It should be there. But I'm not mad because they didn't put it there. But it would have made it a better experience for as friends.
I'll put it this way. I would assume that the vast majority of us here, if we really wanted to play Splatoon with voice chat, we would have done it already with Hangouts. But I haven't done it. Not once.
Hey, y'all got me begging. Y'all got me begging y'all to sit up here and play Monster Hunter 4. Nobody want to play with me, and in voice chat, man. I'm gonna keep bringing that up, by the way.
Nobody wants to play Star Wars with
me.
me.
I need to get in on the game. You need to.
Oh, you mean Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Yes, and they got the new things, the new perks for the single player. So you can level up to level 15 in like 4 hours.
I used to be a paid subscriber to that game, and so I still got some perks though.
You might want to hop on because even the free stuff you can level in the story mode pretty quick, so you can get some level 50s, level 55s pretty quick.
Dude, I wanna start a fresh character and then just go either dark side or light side and see who wants to go with me just for the fun of it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get my wife into it. I want to see if I could get my wife into it though. You know what I'm saying? And then because my stepson, my son, he got his laptop, right? And then my wife, you go on her PC, and then I go on mine, and we go and see what we could do. Have some fun.
MMO gamers.
I think how many people? Yeah, there you go. I was trying to get people into Star Trek online.
I ain't played Stowe in like a year.
Cause I'm a lifer over there, dude. I'm a lifer on Stowe. So
I will make this. I'll make this promise to you. I will get into Monster Hunter 4 really soon. I meant to get into 3 because I actually did like it. I played the demo. I actually liked it. Even my wife liked it. So I plan on getting to Monster Hunter 4. It's just that I mean I already got games that require a lot of my time.
Did you play it on Wii U or the 3DS?
They don't have it for Wii U. I wish they did.
I'm talking about 3. He said he played 3.
I got both. I got both.
I played on Wii U. I got the demo on Wii U. I played it, and I like it.
I think the only reason they haven't really brought it to Wii U is because of sales. Like most of the sales they get from Monster Hunter do come on the 3DS, whereas the Wii U.
Well, 3 Ultimate on the Wii did actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the Wii U it didn't do that great.
No, it did.
It did.
It did pretty well.
The Ultimate did pretty good. I know Tri did good.
Yeah, Tri did good.
Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U actually sold pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
That's why I was shocked when they didn't bring 4 out onto the Wii U.
That's what shocked me.
Capcom, okay? Don't ever question why Capcom does what they do.
What I don't understand is why they didn't bring Frontier G to the US, because it came on the Wii U. Oh, on the UK. I mean, well, to the West in general, to the UK and the US.
Well, the United States is a funny place. In a way, it's like, no,
I don't know.
That. So,
yes. Hey, Shadow, if they were to port over Dragon Quest over here, Dragon Quest 10, the MMO, would you play it?
Yeah, I would play it.
I would trust me. I would sit up here and drop my credit card, boom, be like, damn, let's do this.
I would play the Wii version.
I would play the Wii U version.
I would play the Wii version. I mean, just like that's how bad I would play it. I'll play that or the Wii U version. No matter to me.
And I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan, and I don't even like when they take hardcore like single player RPGs and tournament MMOs. But I would play that game if they brought it over. But
yeah, I still got my Dragon Quest 8 in the special edition box unopened for the PS2.
Wow. That's like my Final Fantasy 12.
I had my dude, but I'm not gonna lie. Way back then, I had ran into some prize financial troubles. I had to let it go. And guess what? I paid I think $70 for it, and I think maybe 6 months later, it was only worth like $12 on the trade-in. And I was
Oh.
pissed off, but it's like, dude, whatever, man. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is a special edition 10 case, and you mean to tell me $70 new, 6 months later, it's only $12? Really? And you're gonna reset it for what? 90?
Well, since it's officially become the Nintendo at Large podcast, what do you guys think? What can Nintendo do right with the Wii U? Because they came out swinging. They came out swinging, trying to do the marketing for the market that everybody that was bitching about the Wii wanted. They wanted a third party platform. They wanted third party ports. They wanted mature rated games. So you got mature rated games published by Nintendo. You got exclusive third party and rated games from Ubisoft or what have you, and you got the indie thing going. You got a platform that was clearly more powerful than last generation, and it has its own little quirks or whatever, and it may even rival the other platforms in some other ways. I'm not going to talk about that right now because other people want to debate about that apparently, and I'll have a shadow cast for that if they want to talk about it. But if the hardware is there, if the marketing was there, and they reached out to the developers obviously at some point, and the developers still said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go with whatever Sony and Microsoft are doing, and they're doing x86, so let's go there." What do they do?
Can I answer this one?
Well, go ahead and go.
Yeah. Here's what they need to do. Here's what Nintendo can do right. Before I say this, I'm being facetious. Here's what Nintendo needs to do. Okay. They need to port all of their games over. If it involves
knee pads, I don't want to hear it.
They need to port all of their. They need to port all of their AAA, quote unquote, for Nintendo AAA titles over to the NX.
Okay.
I have a more realistic response.
They need to open up their $10 billion vault of their $10 billion Scrooge McDuck vault of yen, and then and pay some of these third parties to make some exclusive deals with them for the NX and launch it next year, so that Xbox and so that Sony and Microsoft can't steal their ideas. That's what they need to do.
No, I have a more realistic response to that.
I told you I was being facetious. Here's what Nintendo needs to do.
The truth is,
they need to keep on pumping out games. That's what they need to do. Keep on pumping out games. They'll be fine.
There is nothing Nintendo can do, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. The GameCube, Nintendo appealed to third parties. It didn't work.
Yep.
Third parties help to the
Wii,
system.
They didn't exactly appeal to third parties, but third parties know they can make some BS games, and it was still selling enough to make their money back. Still wasn't enough. Wii U was another attempt to appeal to the third parties and even give them more tools to actually push their creative muscle if they desire to, which we know they do not. But moving on. The reason why I say Nintendo can not do anything to change this is because every typical gamer, think about the word typical gamer of today, even though they bitch about Nintendo needs to do this, needs to do that, at the end of the day, they just simply want to be known that I love a console that is popular and I would rather play Nintendo games on my console. That's what they want, but that's not going to happen. You will never see Mario on a PlayStation or an Xbox, but that's what they want.
Nope.
Nintendo should just drop out of hardware and put their games on other consoles. Then they will stop being Nintendo IPs at that point. 2. Another reason why this won't
how
change.
hypocritical is that, though?
Exactly, because I'm not asking for God of War on the Wii U, but that's another story. But another reason why this will not, there's nothing they can do, is because third parties have admitted this. Some of them have. They cannot compete head-to-head in terms of creativity and software with Nintendo IPs.
Mark Rain admitted that.
Like, they can't. They've admitted this. Like, it cannot be done. And then the third reason, and Red Fox brought this up, Nintendo's not willing to line their pockets for just exclusive DLC or exclusive cutscenes or content or just to get a game on their console, which is on the other consoles as well. Nintendo's not willing to pay for a game because Nintendo realizes the one thing that Xbox and Sony do not realize, and that is this. A developer without a console, without a platform to put their game on, a game is just a damn idea. It's nothing else. A game without a platform is just an idea. Nintendo knows that more than anything, they make their own games, so they can actually take care of themselves that they have been doing for 30 years. They just get other content because there are certain waters they're not willing to dive into themselves, at least not directly. However, with that said, they're not going to pay for this content. And since the other two are so easily willing to pay and pay whatever, and even pay not for development, but even for the marketing, and even go so far as to pay for exclusive marketing rights. I'm looking at you, Destiny.
Yeah, to the point where they trade partners back and forth. That's kind of funny. Now, Call of Duty
I agree.
home is PlayStation.
But I agree with Red Fox on this in the sense that, Nintendo, as long as there's certain practices in the industry by other companies, Nintendo's going to be in a position where, in terms of public perception, they just can't win.
They cannot win. And here's the thing that's really kind of sad is that, like, this industry wouldn't exist without Nintendo.
No, not in its current state. Definitely.
But you know what? I gotta say something though. Don't mind me. I gotta interject here though. Let's look at the other two. For example, instead of just sticking with Nintendo, what they could do what could they do to improve? Because look at the current state of affairs with Sony and their trickling of releases. Even though they sell a lot of consoles, they don't got the games to support it.
That's the problem though, Quan. Everything that they're doing wrong is still being rewarded.
Yeah.
Exactly, and
that's the problem.
And you asked the question.
But my question is, why? Is it because they spent a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing, and that's all it took?
Yeah.
Either that or developers.
You're absolutely right. You just answered your own question.
Okay, Quan. We've seen this in movies, and we probably even read about it. But we all know that the more you put something in someone's face, it's subliminal hypnoptizing, basically. You make people believe they have to have a certain product. That's why you see like Samsung. I think I read an article last year that they actually plan on spending $13 billion on advertising alone for the Galaxy line. It's like, think about that. This is just for the Galaxy phone line.
Yeah,
because they saw what Apple's ads were doing before that.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, like, that's actually more. That's actually more money than the entire company HTC is actually worth.
Yeah, and here's the sad thing. Like, I used to work in politics, and one of the things they teach you is that if you tell a big lie and you repeat it often enough, people start to believe it.
Oh, like the entire video game industry? I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, you can include their BS. I mean,
blast processing.
If you say something, even if it's a ball-faced lie, long enough, people will believe it. They will.
Mapping is only possible with pixel shaders.
Anything. Here's the good one.
You forgot to always do the math.
No, this one. x86 hardware is so much easier for us to make our games. It's so much easier.
Then why did you say that when the first Xbox came out?
DirectX 12 is going to change the game.
Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
My point is this. Like, they can't. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they could do when they were the NES, because you guys remember, Nintendo is doomed. They aren't bringing back the industry. And the SNES, can they stand up to the Sega Genesis? The N64 cartridges are outmoded. The game tiny discs.
But like I said, taking things from a different perspective, let's take a look at what happened with Sega, for example.
Yeah.
What do you think they were thinking when they first came out with the Sega CD and then the 32X at the same time, rather than actually incorporating it into a single console?
They were chasing. They were chasing what they thought Nintendo was doing.
They were throwing everything at the wall, hoping it was.
They were trying to extend the life of the Sega Genesis.
No, but they were being reactive instead of proactive.
The life of the Sega Genesis, because they were making money off of that, and so they created two peripherals. And that's what they were. I know people like, the Sega CD, it started life as a peripheral. So was the 32X. They created two peripherals that cost about as much to develop as a console.
All they had to do
See
was
what
make more
reacting to the
games,
industry.
man.
You guys, I know we sometimes we get into a little box and we always think Sony, Sega, Nintendo, Microsoft, whatever. But there were other guys coming out,
Yeah.
dropping consoles like
NEC,
Panasonic and
Hudson Soft.
And they were still competing with arcades too.
and Sega.
What
Was,
about-
you know,
You
Sega.
forgot Apple, the Pippin?
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
God, let's
Yeah,
not
the
talk
Pippin.
about the
You know,
Pippin.
they got
Do
drowned
we
out.
have to talk about the Pippin?
Sega got drowned out in the 8-bit, generation by
Yep.
Nintendo, and then they got a little, they got a little success with the Sega Genesis. They came out early. They
Yep.
were more powerful. They did the Nintendo, Genesis does what
stuff.
Nintendo.
Sega
and
does what Nintendo.
exactly, and so they got a little power, and they were like, they wanted to keep that power, so they started throwing stuff at the wall, so they wouldn't be left behind with all these other little consoles trying to come out.
That was the other thing too. They were
That's what
competing with
happened.
arcades at the time too.
Right, arcades. They were dealing with arcades. They were dealing with, like I said, NEC.
TurboGrafx 16.
TurboGrafx 16. They were all
with
dropping
yeah.
consoles with peripherals like a CD add-on, and so they were trying to, get out there before everybody else and could steal their thunder, and that ultimately killed them. That mentality ultimately killed Sega because they just kept trying to throw stuff at a wall instead of having better foresight.
And see, another thing that killed them is like Nintendo does the opposite, and they still do the opposite to this day. As opposed to the other console manufacturers. Nintendo builds their consoles around their games. Not build a piece of hardware and then just hopes the games can run on it, to the way they want. Nintendo says, we have an idea for a game. The concept we want around this game is this. Like, for example, Nintendo Land. And they say, okay, well, how can we make this concept possible? What hardware will we need to make this concept possible? Yeah. Then they build a console around that game. So the game's concept is there. Then the console comes into play. While the rest of them just say, okay, we want 8 gigs of RAM. We want 8 cores. And this should be enough to give us way more options than we had last gen. Well, dude, the shit.
Well, look what happened. It didn't work out too. I'll put it this way: the way that AMD does cores is not quite what people think, and so the math is a bit off. And I'm not going to get any further than that. And Shadow Fox knows what I'm talking about.
They don't have hardware, so I can understand why
you've got to take into consideration that they're looking to do a lot of copy and pasting of games now that they have these consoles with PC hardware. But a lot of these companies don't even develop these games with AMD in mind. They're usually developed with Intel in mind. So you're trying to port that over to a low power AMD system, you're gonna have problems.
I don't knock Sony or even Microsoft when they build their consoles around hardware, because their first party games aren't the type of games that quote unquote require
to be honest,
specific hardware.
Even with the x86 architecture, I don't have any issues with the actual architecture designs of the PS4 or the Xbox One. It's the developers, and me and Shadow said this in a podcast before, is that, well, Shadow said it and I just agreed with him, that these developers aren't designing for low power thermal output.
No.
And that's the biggest problem with these. That's the biggest problem. If they were actually designing these consoles around low power thermal output, which is what these PS4 and Xbox One are using.
Sony and Microsoft, they realize that they make third party boxes, and so it's almost a PC situation where.
No, what I'm saying is that they still a lot of these developers they're still not developing for the hardware that's there, and it may be x86 or whatever, but the fact is, because you've got a closed box system that still has
bloated code.
Hardware,
all I was saying is this.
Develop based on the hardware.
Most console generations, the hardware is rarely ever tapped out, and that happened with the PS2, the GameCube era. It happened with, I think that happened with 360, PS3, Wii era, where consoles can still do some great stuff.
It's happened with the PlayStation and the N64.
Well,
the only console from what I know that's ever been maxed out
Super Nintendo.
The NES.
I'm gonna be a troll. I'm gonna be a troll for about 10 seconds here. Looking at things objectively, to me, both the PS4 and the Xbox One are nothing but the lowest of the low Steam boxes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because like Steam, I don't have a Steam account. I know a lot about it, but the thing is, when that's the whole Steam box, they're gonna have different versions of it. And I look at the Xbox One and the PS4, it's like they're basically low-end Steam boxes. That's it. They get most of the same games. They play the games mostly the same way. They put a little console taste to it, but other than that, that's pretty much all they are.
And if it wasn't for E3 2013, they would have had DRM just like Steam.
Of course.
What?
Mhm.
And if the Wii U took off,
they do
would
have
same
DRM.
experiences.
See, it's still there. The DRM is there.
They have it. Yeah.
Well, every console has DRM to some extent.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about
Like,
you.
even
I mean,
even
I can
Wii
put
U.
in my Wii game and play. No
Yeah,
download.
Well, what I'm saying is, even if you download the game from the eShop, it's still going through a Nintendo DRM.
Yeah.
True enough.
Because you can't move it to another account.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think the retail, which is what most people are worried about, retail-wise, I can have my system offline, my Wii U offline, and not have to worry about anything still running and playing.
But the thing
You
is,
can sell your games and somebody will actually buy them.
Exactly.
Not
But
the-
here's the thing as well. Like, a lot of these consoles are trying to, like, the PS4 and Xbox One are trying to be so much like PC, but the only console that really, but even despite that, the Wii U functions more like a PC, more PC-like than both the PS4 and Xbox One. It still it doesn't simulate PC, but it emulates some of the stuff it does very well, like multiple displays, their net coding for online gaming for third party, like where they can actually link, where third parties can actually link their net code for video games to the Nintendo network, whereas if they were doing it with Sony and Microsoft, they would have to go through PSN and they would have to go through Xbox Live. Whereas
I got
Nintendo,
a random troll question.
The web browser functions more like a PC web browser. In fact, in some sense,
definitely.
it functions more efficiently than a PC web browser.
Yeah, I can watch my anime through the Wii U browser.
Hey.
More than just anime.
And you
Oh,
can
Lord.
you can hook
Shadow,
up to,
look. I
you
understand
can-
this
you
may
can-
be
you
a
can
Shadow
hook up-
cast, but
you can also hook up to you can hook up 2 hard drives and transfer data between the 2 of them. You can't do that with the other systems.
Yeah, I've got
So
2
the
hard drives hooked
the
up right now.
Wii, with the Wii remote and nunchuck, it has closer controls to mouse and keyboard. The Wii actually the Wii U actually emulates PC functionality better than consoles that were better than PS4 and Xbox One, which were built like PC. Which is
But nobody
irony-
cares about features, man. Oh wait.
The irony with that though is that they're championing this very thing that they damned with Wii Motion Plus. They're championing it now because there are certain controllers and certain accessories that come with the Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus.
Mm-hmm.
They're championing it now. Oh, I can look and I can just point in any direction instead of using these slow analog sticks. I'm like,
Things are great when it's not on Nintendo.
Yeah. Like I said,
platform.
Nintendo cannot win. It
Second
does not
screen,
matter.
second screen. That the stuff is
Doesn't
only
matter.
great when it's
Can't
a
win.
PS Vita and PS4 or
I just
smartphone.
heard Jeff Gersman talk about that like he had never played Conduit on the Wii before.
Hey, you know
I
what?
swear to God.
I mentioned this in Red Fox's podcast, but months back, I saw a post on Google Plus where someone posted a photo of the new Sony Xperia Z phone, and they had a little peripheral attachment where they can hook in their PS4 controller and it acts like a second display to actually play Destiny, via remote play using their Xperia phone.
I think I know who that was.
And I'm thinking, like, you think this is cool? Like, I've been doing this since 2012 with my Wii U, and even though you can play Destiny anywhere, it's like, well, to be honest, like, what happens when you're playing Destiny in a firefight and you get a phone call?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure your experience is over, buddy.
Yeah, man. I want to. This is more the issue that I have is like the industry at large, if you will, tends to have preconceived notions about a lot of things, and the problem is they are so powerful and they don't know it. So the little impressions that they give and the little knowledge that they try to pass on, even though it's a large misconception, it ends up becoming fact because so many people read about it and so many people hear about it, and then they go to work and tell their friend, or they go to school and tell their friend. Now all of a sudden this is known fact. This is why when I did my podcast with Shokyo, I asked him, is powerful hardware powerful? And everyone's like, what kind of stupid question is that? You can't say, no, you tell me exactly what you think powerful is. And then he just started laughing. I'm like, no, you tell me exactly what fidelity you're talking about here.
And this is a misconception with a lot of people. This is a misconception with a lot of people. Like, when you're talking in terms of physical hardware, power is such a relative thing. I mean, in a sense, it doesn't really exist. Like
No, it doesn't.
It's
all
about
What are you talking about?
it's all about your data throughput. How fast can you fetch information? How fast can you fetch can your processor
And read it back to memory.
I'm looking at power the same way I look at satisfaction. What satisfies you as a person? Because to one person it may be money, another person it could be sex, another person it could be alcohol.
There you go.
But at the end of the day, it depends on who you are and what what gets you off. So if you think power is 8 gigs of RAM, well, I'm sorry, but there are PCs out there you can buy for around the same price that come with 8 gigs, if not more RAM than that.
Well, it's like you take an example right now. Like AMD released their most recent graphics card called Fury, and they actually put less memory in it in their most recent powerful graphics card.
Because it's HBM.
But the memory they're using is high bandwidth memory, which is a lot faster. I mean, what other console do you know that does that? Oh wait, the Wii U.
Gee, I wonder where they got that from.
And AMD has been partners with Nintendo for God knows how long.
Yeah, and it is about the same bandwidth. I want to say the maximum bandwidth of it is very similar to that of eDRAM. So
exactly.
Anywhere between 1 gig to 1.5 gigs a second maximum throughput.
And look at how they even built the GPU. They built it quite similar to the Wii U's MCM model.
Yep. So everything's directly right there next to the GPU, so it can read and write as needed. And
exactly.
and it's
even though they've caused the chip to be a massive.
Yeah, but they're going to start using that for more stuff as they learn how to die shrink that. It's going to be in embedded systems. It's going to be in ATMs and all other kind of stuff. So I'm sorry, eDRAM's here to stay, dude. Like people were like, oh,
embedded memory is the way forward.
Power Architecture uses it for all their servers. A lot of the high-end Intel mobile parts, they've been using it for a while. Some of the desktop parts use it too for their GPU part of the CPU. So the Intel HD, whatever, it uses eDRAM. And they've been doing this for quite a bit, actually. So I want to say the better part of, 4 or 5 years now? But nobody pays attention to that. I just have a problem. I have a problem with that because
this is the thing with technology. It's like a lot of people are screaming out these numbers, and no one actually understands what is really going on under the hood. Like people just see 8 gigs of RAM and they get and people just see 8 gigs of RAM and all of a sudden they're pre-coming.
Let's not forget the let's not forget the benchmarks though, because apparently Digital Foundry is the most trusted source ever when it comes to this. Even though Digital Foundry has never shown any of the equipment that they actually use to make this happen.
But you know what? I got some better numbers. I got some better numbers that people seem to ignore. They always say, "Oh, Nintendo posted a loss." No, they're not losing money. They just didn't make as much money as they projected or made last year. But the console's been making a profit since launch, even when sold one game.
So let me tell you something about business. Do you have a thing called? Because I did business studies in school. You have a thing called limited liability. You know what limited liability means? It means that you never lose more than you invest. When Nintendo posts a loss. When they post a loss, it's not an operating loss. They're not necessarily losing money. They've just lost. They just haven't made back all.
Yeah, they just write it off.
They haven't made back all they've invested, which means they had a set budget that they were going to use. They had a set budget that they was going to use, and they expected to make back money plus profit on top. They didn't make back all the money, but they're still in the plus because they haven't lost more than they've actually invested into what they're doing.
Which means they'll get it back the next FY.
And if you read the articles that have these so-called posted losses, it even says, well, last year in 2013, Nintendo, made, $1 billion, and this year they only made $900 million, so they posted a loss of, $100 million. It's not a loss.
No, it's not a loss. That's just a change
they didn't lose
in profit.
money. They made less profit than they did the quarter prior or the year prior.
Let me get a second real quick. Fox.
Yes.
Am I slurring yet? Am I stumbling?
No,
yet?
You're not slurring or stumbling. So apparently, you said this is the 75% alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're actually having 75% Bacardi, and you're not slurring after how many drinks?
I'm on 5.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, there's somebody out there that wanted to make a video about that, and then they promptly deleted it after they realized how stupid they were. So, yeah, okay. There you go. There's evidence.
Had it been 151, that'd be a different story.
Yes.
Well,
Which
well,
is...
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. This person said after 5 shots, right? You say you're on 5. So let's see what happens after you finish that shot.
Okay, let's do that. Never mind the fact that I was drinking 80
I want to be very, very
40%.
technical.
Yeah, I'm about to say I drink Bacardi Superior. That's 40% alcohol by volume, dude. I could take like 20 of those. It's whatever. But okay. Anyways, speaking of those type of
The trick is also in the breathing. That's what people don't get.
aha, oxygen to the brain.
Not even just in the breathing. The trick is also in your own mindset as well. Like, if you I find you get drunk more easily when you don't have a strong mindset.
And something else, when you do a fast guzzle versus a nice little trickle.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
And you know what? I'm sorry, man,
Which
but
is
right now I'm drunk off power.
Why is your speech slurred?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, too much. A bit too much.
I had 4 shots of power, so.
Dude, I'm trying not to laugh right now. My Shih Tzu is over there snoring. Yo, I'm serious. Hold on. Let me see how close I can get the mic to her.
Oh, God.
We actually use that as an excuse to curse.
Hold on a
Just saying.
second.
Animal lovers at large.
I swear, dogs snore like grown men.
She snores like she got a job. I'm telling you. I love this dog though. You know what I'm saying? I miss Jasper, but I love this mutt right here.
I'm pretty sure she's snoring because she's dealing with your ass day in, day out.
That's time.
No, this is what it is. Every time you go by the front door, this dog is funny like that. She'll sit up here and run to the front door if she thinks she's going for a walk. Otherwise, guess what she does all day?
Sleep.
Wow.
Yep, pretty much. Sleep, eat, that's it.
Wow.
Well,
Sleep,
that's the
eat,
life
wait to go
for a
poop
dog.
outside.
That's the life of a dog.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably about time for us to go ahead and wrap this up. I know I probably should make this a shadow cast and make it an epic 6-hour-long journey, but I won't do that.
For some of us, it's late and we've got work in the morning.
Yeah. I'm one of them. I want to take the rest of the week off, but I got to at least go in tomorrow. So, I don't know if there's anything else we can kind of talk about. I don't know if there's any Q&A up. I could look and see if anybody posted anything. Okay, our favorite question poster, Tony. I don't know. Somebody say the rest of his name, but he runs it together. Kaname Karan or whatever. He said,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He said, "Do you think the Western third-party fools are going to turn their backs on Nintendo after the NX 2017-2018 launch?" Definitely yes.
Yes.
My answer is definitely yes. I think we kind of talked about it already.
Personally, if I'm not going to go into it now, but personally, from what I know, look, here's the thing with the NX. A lot of people talk about the NX. Here's the thing with the NX. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I'll save this for another class. A lot of people are talking about the NX, based on just information they're hearing now. If you actually look back at things that Nintendo has been doing and what they were talking about, from what which is what I've done, from what I've seen, it's going to look like Nintendo's going to be in a situation where they definitely would not have a problem if third party ain't going to be there.
Concerning the NX, I got a question. Do they still have that contract over there with Power?
With Power?
Power PC.
Power Architecture?
Yeah, Power Architecture.
They're going to keep using that as long as they can still afford it.
No, what I'm saying is, do they still have a contract with them? I know that they had a multi-year contract with those guys concerning making CPUs for them, but I wanted to know if it still extends to the lifespan of the NX.
They started that contract in '99. I thought that ended after the 2000s. They just kept using them because that tech they paid for a certain amount of Power Architecture, and since they keep using the same core and kind of expanding upon it, I guess they just pay for East Fishkill, New York, to just make whatever they end up designing, and they just mass print them instead of one big $1 billion contract, or if you will.
So what I'm saying is, do you think they're going to go for something similar along the lines to what they did with the Wii U, or are they going to go for a totally different?
They're probably going to
altogether.
they're probably going to stay similar architecture, I think.
Yeah,
Because backwards compatibility is big for them.
and they put like billions of dollars.
But I think they're gonna take some ideas from I think they're gonna use some ideas from the AMD Fury GPU in terms of like their CPU and GPU setup and their memory setup. I think we're gonna see a system with some. I think they're gonna implement the high bandwidth memory as their main memory for their next system.
I will say this though. I think that whatever CPU architecture they use, it's probably going to have a lot higher SIMD instructions than the current system now, because I think they're probably going to do a lot of virtual hosts being on this system. So it probably is going to be closer to maybe a higher end power architecture than what we currently have right now. So it's probably going to be a server grade CPU and whatever we end up getting.
So you're thinking true Power 7?
If not Power 7, definitely Power 6 with some extensions here or there, so they can do a lot of virtualization.
Okay.
Because you think what they're doing now. They're making their own cloud infrastructure, if you will, and you got to imagine they're going to be moving Virtual Console around. So basically, Virtual Console is going to be a platform as service, and it's got to be able to run on everything. So I would imagine they're putting something server grade in the new hardware, well, be it NX or whatever they want to call it.
Do you think they're going to also try to make something similar to GameSpy, where they have their own network set up in a way with, integrated within the Nintendo network, where they could do full voice and all those other amenities that people like, such as achievements and whatnot?
Well, that's kind of what Miiverse is in a way. It just doesn't tie directly into the voice chat thing. So I think it will probably be more like that. Like the new Nintendo network will be like tied in with Miiverse and whatever their new loyalty service program is going to be that will replace Play Nintendo and all this other, and Club Nintendo.
Yeah.
So
Nintendo fools.
Yeah, I think that's all going to be connected together, and obviously Nintendo has a vested interest in Google, so they're going to keep using that tech and for VoIP and whatever and whatnot. Like you can make your own VoIP client. Like the API is free; it's out there. So I'm fairly sure.
You're talking about video.
Yeah, for the video client, but also the voice client as well.
No. I'm talking about the company. The company's called Video.
Yes, you're talking about for the Wii U chat, right? The Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U chat. It's similar to what we do with Google Hangouts.
Yes, the same company.
So what I'm saying is, Nintendo could take advantage of this and use it and integrate it over here with Google Hangouts as well. If they make a deal with them to tie it in, your user ID with Google with your Nintendo Network ID, so they can make logins seamless.
Yeah, I see something like that's going to happen, because they have to have something to unify the mobile platforms, the handheld platform, and the dedicated console. So they got to have, and as well as PC as well. So
I'm just saying, if they sit up here and make their bets with Android instead of with Apple, I could see it happening quicker.
With Android?
Yeah.
As far as Android being the platform, or are you saying that would
as far as Android being one of the platforms that they majorly target? I would suggest them try Android first too, to be honest with you, just so they can get a bigger footprint out there first. Because exactly.
Working with Apple is going to take some time.
Yeah, not to mention they're a little finicky.
Yeah, kind of like Nintendo.
Yeah, they'll butt heads left and right. I'm telling you. Forget it. We could go with this conversation for hours.
Yeah. The last question he had was, he said, since Xenoblade Chronicles X will be launching outside of Japan on Jay-Z's birthday, December the 4th, do any of you know that it's the #1 digital title for the month of May 2015? I don't know if you're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles X in Japan, or you're talking about Jay-Z's.
I think he's referring to the game in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sold like gangbusters in May.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I'm buying it. I know I'm buying it.
Yeah. And when it drops, I'm not gonna have a life. Like, you're not gonna see me.
Yeah, that's how.
That's why I want you guys to get into Monster Hunter before it comes out. Sheesh.
That game, between that game and
Fantasy Crack. Don't forget Fantasy Crack.
Yeah, well.
I have a confession to make. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get into any other game for quite some time, and here's why. I kind of love and hate Nintendo for what they're doing with Splatoon. The reason I hate it is because the reason I love it is because I mean, hey, we're getting content almost every week, different types of content almost every single week. The reason why I hate it is because it really does make the game feel so fresh every week that you can't just take a week off and not play a map because you'll end up being behind.
Stay fresh, Squid.
Like you have to actually stay on it because when they drop a new weapon or a new level, it's like you need to get in there and learn it because you can end up losing like 10 matches in a row if you don't know that map. You really can.
Well, you gotta accept
and Tony
it, man.
clarified in Japan.
You gotta accept it, man. We're kids now. We're squids now, so we gotta stay fresh.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he did.
I was about to
I'm
say
serious.
something kind of horrific, but I'll save it for after the cast.
All I gotta say is this, man. This is the time to have a Squid Girl marathon on anime.
Oh God.
Yeah, Squid Girl.
Oh my God.
When I said that mess a while back, man, they actually showed that they had cross marketing between the two in Japan.
That wouldn't surprise me actually.
No Squid Girls.
Yeah, Squid Girl.
And
Squid
the
Girl for real.
podcast. And the podcast.
Well, on that note, yeah, I'll go ahead and start from my far left. We'll go ahead and do our outros. But anyway, this has been Gamers at Large, episode 68, hosted by yours truly, Shadow Fox Infinite, the most hated person on the internet apparently because I use logic and I'm very literal about things that I say. So to my extreme left, I have Double M. Go ahead and give your outro, please.
Micah.
He is muted. Oh, okay. Well, Ken, give your outro.
Once again, this is up to feel good, and as I always say, keep it gaming and ba la 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 la.
All right. So the tale of two foxes. The other fox, Mr. Red Fox, give your outro.
Yeah, I haven't taken any BS since 1991, and I hope to continue not to take any BS even now that it's 2015. Just game on, man. Just play your games.
Outstanding. And not to be mistaken for a member of the A team, we have MizzahTee. Could you give your outro, please?
Hey folks, MizzahTee here. Had a great time with the podcast as always, and looking out for the next couple of videos. They might have some fools in a tizzy.
That
I know what you say, fools. I'll see you guys next time and play Nintendo, fools.
All right. Quan ManChu, who is the father, the founder, the great wise Wizard of Id, the Gamers at Large. You give your outro, please, kind sir.
Okay, well, this is me, Quan ManChu, hanging over here with my boys, doing the same thing that we always do. And you know what I say, everybody, when it comes to gaming, whatever's clever.
Outstanding. If we do not have Micah for his outro, then I'll go ahead and give mine. Once again, this has been Gamers at Large, episode 68. This is your wonderful host, Shadow Fox Infinite. Sorry for making this a Shadowcast, but I kind of had to. The couple of things I want to put out. I have a video that I've been trying to put up for the past couple of days. A couple of things have been happening, keeping me from doing that, but it will be up pretty soon. Kind of clarifying a couple of things that we were talking about today. So stay tuned for that, and I will be doing that part 2 to Shadowcast 19 pretty soon. And all challengers are welcome. And if anybody wants to come and kick it and do whatever, we can do that too. And have lushes at large, if you will, and we'll do that, play Splatoon, curse at each other, what have you. So, but as I always say, do you play games to have fun or to impress other people? And with that,
Shadow.
Yes.
One more thing, man.
I'm listening.
Just 1 second. Hold on. Oh no, I lost it.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can go ahead. I lost it, man.
I play games to impress other people. I don't care what anyone says.
Complete fail.
Way to impress other people there.
Hold on, I got it, man. I got it. Here it is. This is for Quan.
Uh-oh.
You are my ambassador, Quan, man.
Oh my God.
Really? Little Jerry Maguire for y'all. Yeah.
Oh, wow.